Hey guys, I thought it'd be fun just to make a video on this pickup that I made today. This is a Zenith CED player. What's the exact model here? This is the model VP-2000. So this is Zenith's horse in the race for the CED. This was their player. It's the same as I believe it's the F chassis. I'm not sure they modeled this after the G chassis. I'm pretty sure this is the F. But yeah, this was only a $20 Facebook Marketplace score from like the town nearby, so I couldn't say no to that. And before I turn it on and see how it spins up, I want to pop the hood, and check the insides for any clear defects. Before I flip this on the side and undo all the screws, it's relatively wise to remove the stylus from your player before you flip it over and do crazy stuff to it. So this uses the stock number 149 000. This is the mono stylus. You see, nothing stands out. The fly lead is not disintegrated. I see the stylus tip is there. Of course, it is all, using the naked eye. You really need a microscope to inspect the stylus, but nothing. It looks okay. So this one could work. The stylus could be good, and I could have myself a $20 stylus, which is an absolute steal. Now, the trouble is, where am I going to find a spot to keep this momentarily? That should work. All right, so flipping the player on its upside down, these chassis players are really annoying because you have to undo so many screws to actually get into them. So I have a 6.5 millimeter. It's not a hex key, is it? I don't. I'll be honest. I don't remember what actual type this is, but it's a 6.5 something, and you have to undo all of these. I have a video on here with my old camera that I filmed with my old camera about getting these players into service position, and there I show the whole process. I mean, this stuff is kind of second nature to me at this point. And this is and even to get the top up, you have to do this. I'm not taking the bottom off unless there ends up being a circuit problem. So I can't say no to a challenge, I suppose. Sorry, I was getting that part. There are 3 screws up here. Now I know I have a bit for my electric screwdriver that fits these, but this is the first one I found, so I'll be picking up just do it this way. Yeah, let's see. 1 foot, and that's it. Yeah, the rubber feet on these units really don't like to stay on, so cherish them while you can. Oh, geez Louise. This guy's eager to get off. And I still undo those screws at the back, right? 3 Phillips heads in the back here. You have to undo. This thing just works out of the box. The box is metaphorical, of course. I'm going to be one happy camper. So that means I just get to mess around with video discs in here instead of having to get this up and running. So this just slides off. Okay, here's the inside here. Anything jumping out? Let's see. I see the turntable belt. I see the servo belt there. They are looking okay. They're still there, which is good. So that responds. The turntable responds. Yeah. Okay. So, Mr. Stylus, you may go back in there. Now, of course, while those two belts look okay, they could in fact be problematic, and I just don't know it yet because they have not gone through their motions. But important thing is, they seem to have a good grip on them, and they are not falling off. So that's promising. All right. So I have this plugged in. I'm going to use the... Okay, this is barely on screen. I'm going to use the Frankenstein lever to borrow the wording from James Rolfe. And I see the front here has double zeros. I don't know if that's if that's the what Zenith used for their players.
No, as a matter of fact, it should not show the double zero. It should show the flashing L. That's just the first sign that there is a problem on this unit.
So my test disc, which is all right. I mean, it's not the mintiest thing on planet Earth, but it'll get the job done. It's not going to destroy the Stylus. I flipped it to play. I don't have this connected to a TV, so I will in a moment. Oh no. I didn't see it move there. What have I?
The idea behind pushing the stylus arm forward and starting playback from there is to make sure that it's not an issue with the stylus landing, that the stylus is not landing too far off the first groove of the disc and therefore not starting playback. But as you'll see, we get the same issue.
Well, ain't this a son of a bitch? What's interesting here is that I don't see the servo moving or the stylus dropping. I mean, it could be. It's possible that the stylus has a weak fly lead, but no, that looks healthy. So what I did is I got this, and in this slot here, I'm just sticking this in, and that's stylus dropping. So it looks healthy enough, but the thing is that I don't see it actually dropping down. Yeah, because this should be moving back. Because the idea on these players is, on the FG players, when you go from unload to, my gut's in the way, when you go from unload to play, this should be turning, this should be going backwards, and then the, servo motor should be turning this backwards. And if you yeah, I don't. It doesn't look like the stylus is strapping. Hmm. Uh, that's interesting. All right. So, in between recordings, I ran in. Well, first things first, I tested the stylus in my G250. Uh, it will take that stylus because it's the same shape and all, and it does work. It does work. So, well, first off, yay for me because I got a good stylus for only $20. So that's something to feel good about. However, something not to feel good about is that this thing's going to need some work to get up and running because I also ran in to get all my service manuals and to get this guy, the workshop manual. First off, if I'm not sure if I do include that take in this video, but before I said that there was no 5 volts. Well, that was incorrect because I was measuring the wrong point. That'll do it to you. I looked at the 22 volt supply. Where's that? That's here. 22 volts unregulated gives 24 volts. That's perfectly acceptable. 15 volts, test point 19 here. It's also labeled K. That gives me 15 volts. This is the test point 29 on the board. Positive 5 volts. So then, as you see, we got 5 volts. What's going to be the best place for you guys to see? That might that might have to be it. Come on. Look, that should be okay. All right. So, the point of this workshop manual is, well, first off, it teaches, RCA service techs, how the CED system works, yada yada yada. It also gives a bunch of basically flowcharts with explanations of doing troubleshooting on the different sections. If you have the, I believe the author's name is John Lenk. If you have his book on Laserdisc/video disc, troubleshooting book, that's the CED part at least is basically ripped straight from this. So if you have that book, that's basically the same thing. But of course, this one's a little more cool because it's actual RCA stuff. So how I got to this point? I got to this point because after bending over and checking to see if the stylus was even landing on the disc, it was not on the disc. So what you normally do, I'm not going to be able to really show you, but how you check to see if the stylus on the disc on this chassis player, you bend over and you can see there's a little split between the board here and the disc itself. Then you'll be able to see the stylus. Of course it's small, but it will stick out if it's actually landing on the disc. If it's not on the disc, well, and the stylus is good, as in has good fly lead tension and all, then you're in real trouble there because you have to actually do a deep dive on the electronic scale. So because the stylus was not landing on the disc, first thing I went to was stylus lifter servicing section here in this manual. So you can get through that, because this manual shows everything. There's a no playback flow chart here. So no playback. Sub cartridge okay? Well, I know this cartridge works, so it should work here. Visual check stylus down? No, because stylus is not down. So that means what we should go to is service stylus lifter, page 37. and this is page 37 here, and these give a nice visual step-by-step of what you should be checking for, and the explanations are in the paragraphs here. So servicing the Stylus lifter circuit, it says, well, first off, the Stylus did not get damaged in loading or unloading, so that's not what we have to look at. We have to look at why the Stylus lifter is not doing its job in playback. So, player loads, displays lit, no playback is the section we want to look at. So it reads, with a disk in the player and the function level in the play position, which we have. Check for a logic low, so near 0 volts, at microcomputer pin 9. So the microcomputer is here. We want to go to pin 9, so pin 1 is here, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, there. So, I mean, it's not perfectly 0, but it just says near 0, and 400 millivolts is near 0 enough in my book. So, I'll just let that slide. So I'll let that go. So check for logic low, 0 volts at microcomputer. So the next paragraph, check for logic low, 0 volts at microcomputer, Stylus up output TP30, microcomputer pin 32. So test point 30 is here. Yeah, it's not it's not 0 volts, is it? 3.5 volts. So if the test point is high, press the pause button once. So what we're basically looking for is looking to see if the pause button does anything, which it does not. It does not. So if test point 30 remains high, the system control microcomputer is defective. Well, isn't that a kick in the pants? It does say, the last sentence in this paragraph does say, to just make sure that the pause button works. And how you do that, confirm a low input to the microcomputer at pin 8. So this is pin 8. So it will remain at logic high until you press the pause button. So, and I'm holding it down because the pause button is just a momentary close between plus 5 volts and ground. So the moment you're not touching the pause button, the player resumes playback. So that's where I am at with this thing. The microcomputer has to get replaced if I want to use this. Now, I don't need this player really. This was just a little grab, just a little $20 gamble for parts and for a possible stylus and all that. So I more than made my return on this thing. However, in the interest of intellectual pursuits and resurrecting dead video equipment, I am considering replacing the microcomputer on this and seeing if that can, and see where this thing goes from there. That's just that's just kind of my nature. What can I say? So I'll be sure to make a follow-up video whenever I do that. I have a little board pile over there from other FG model players, so I hope their carcasses will save this thing from total, will save this thing from failure. I have microcomputers, in over there. It's just a matter of this thing is 40 pins, and that's going to be a real pain to desolder. and then resolder on here. Well, that's where I am with this. So thanks for watching, and I will see you guys later.